Hey guys, so Mayor from MMOs.com will do another quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending November 23rd, 2015. This is episode number 18 of the news recap, and we're already almost done with November, and I'll actually be back in Vegas on December 4th too, so my schedule will be a little bit more normalized then. Anyway, the first bit of news this week is that Blade & Soul from NCSoft finally received an official release date, and that date is on January 19th. And that's January 19th, 2016. The game has already gone through several rounds of closed beta testing in the West and has actually been released in Asia since 2012 in South Korea. So Western release date is quite overdue as is. Impatient players can jump into the game a little bit earlier on January 15th by purchasing a Founders Pack, and those that buy the more expensive Founders Pack can reserve their names on January 11th. The game will be launching with a max level of 45, but regularly scheduled content updates are planned. It's good to finally hear a definitive release date for Blade & Soul. Too bad it's like 3 years late already though. Up next, some pretty big news from Grinding Gear Games regarding Path of Exile. Path of Exile's next expansion, titled Ascendancy, is set to launch in early 2016. The expansion will introduce numerous features, but mainly a treacherous puzzle-laden labyrinth for players to crawl through. Completing the massive labyrinth will reward players with Ascendancy class. One of 19 specializations are available, with each class being able to choose one of 3. Each Ascendancy class has its own set of skills to climb as well, with each tree featuring 12 skills, with players only learning 6 of those 12, so they'll have to choose wisely. Expect a lot more goodies with expansion 2, and I consider this pretty big news because Path of Exile has been extremely successful. It's actually been one of the best free-to-play games developed by a Western company in a long time. There's still no official release date for this expansion, but we'll know more soon enough. But it is going to release in early 2016. That we know. Plus, the video in the background is the official Path of Exile Ascendancy expansion trailer. You can see some actual gameplay in this trailer as well of some of the new areas. Next up, Dom Games has opened up pre-orders for Black Desert Online in North America and Europe. Pre-orders begin at $29.99 and grants players various bonus goodies including housing decor coupons and partial skill resets. A $99.99 version of the game, basically $100, is also available, which grants players access to closed betas and a bunch of other goodies. The $29.99 version of the game isn't bad, but I still feel like it's a bit weird to see the Korean, Japanese, and Russian versions of the game all free to play, while the North American and European versions are buy to play. Plus, the pre-order version of the game for $29.99 does not include any beta access, but does grant players a one-day head start and a few other goodies. But it does seem weird that they're not giving beta access to pre-orders. Only people that buy the $100 pack get access to the various betas. But yeah, Black Desert Online is slated for an early 2016 release, which means that the next round of closed beta testing probably isn't too far away. Up next, a game we briefly mentioned in last week's podcast, Master of Eternity, shortened as MOE, is slated for release sometime next year from Nexon. Master of Eternity is yet another move by Nexon to push into the mobile market, and looks like a strategy RPG, sort of like Final Fantasy Tactics or Ogre Battle, in that it looks kind of like a tactics game, but with mechs of course. The game also has quite a few waifu characters, which is clearly the key to success in these mobile games, so we'll see how Nexon does. And yes, you can see we got some side moves going on over here. And as you can see in the video in the background, I guess it's a bit of a story-driven game. We got this hot nurse chick talking to us. But unfortunately, there is still no Western release date announced for Master of Eternity, but if the game does well in Asia, you can expect a Western release date shortly afterwards, and these are all the waifu characters we can play. Awesome. But I do like what I'm seeing, I'm not gonna lie. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Next up, another bit of news from G-Star 2015. Operation 7-2 is set to launch in Q2 2016. So let's think it for a moment. Operation 7-2. What a weird name. Operation 7-2, as you probably guessed by the name, is a sequel to the first Operation 7 game, which has been hugely popular in South America for some reason. It's an FPS game, but oddly, it's releasing in Japan first before anywhere else. And I say oddly because FPS games aren't that popular in Japan. A South American release is scheduled to be shortly afterwards, and then an international release. I played the original Operation 7 a bit, and I didn't really enjoy it too much, but the trailer here looks kind of decent, so I'll definitely give it a shot once it's actually available. But unfortunately, that might be a while because the game is launching in Q2 2016, and by the time it rolls around into English, it'll probably be the end of 2016. Too bad this video in the background does not show any actual gameplay, but it was the official G-Star trailer they released for the game. Up next, a game that always seems to make it into these weekly news videos, Skyforge. This time around, Skyforge is set to release a massive PvP update on December 2nd titled War's Onset. New additions to the game include Pantheon Wars, Pantheon War tournaments, class balance changes, and more specifically, the Archer, Gunner, and Kinetic will be undergoing previously unannounced balance changes to bring them more closer to, quote, their damaged counterparts, with certain stats being reevaluated to make them, quote, much more valuable. And the video in the background is the official War's Onset trailer. Boosh. Next up, some news from NCSoft regarding their upcoming multiverse MOBA, Master x Master. It's worth mentioning that Lineage Eternal has taken a bit of a backseat this year at G-Star 2015, as NCSoft didn't even show off any Lineage Eternal content and instead talked a lot about their upcoming MOBA, Master x Master, which features characters from the entire NCSoft universe. The game will use a tagging system similar to games like Marvel vs. Capcom, so that players can select 2 heroes rather than 1 and switch between them in a game. And that actually sounds pretty exciting, but at the same time, it seems like a nightmare to balance. I feel like certain heroes will always be like a really good tag team partner, but again, we'll see when the game actually comes out how it plays out. The only news here is that the NC Soft has been promoting and showing off Master X Master quite a bit at G-Star 2015, while talking a little about Lineage Eternal, so maybe perhaps a delay or a slowdown in Lineage Eternal, but I guess we'll be seeing Master X Master sooner rather than later. Up next, Devillion's final round of closed beta testing ended today, Monday the 23rd, and this next round of testing will be the game's open beta. I still find it a bit odd that we had to wait this long to play Devilion when the game has been out in South Korea for over a year now. Tron World showed off Devillion's PvP with this most recent round of closed beta testing, giving players access to World PvP and Class PvP modes. Tron also showed off the Shadowhunter class in this round of beta. The Shadowhunter class is a class armed with a whip and has quote, hunter instincts and focus on stealthy mobility and high damage, which basically makes them sound like hunters / rogues in my mind. Then again, the Shadow Whip sounds a lot like Ivy's weapon from Soul Calibur. Open beta should be starting somewhat soon, so look for an announcement on that in the coming days, most likely. And moving right along, some exciting news from Albion Online. Albion Online's closed beta has officially begun today for those that purchased the Legendary Founders Pack. Those that bought only the Epic Founders Pack, they'll have to wait until tomorrow to play, while Veteran Founders Packs get access to the game the following day on the 25th. Servers open at 7 AM Eastern Time on each of these days. I'm personally excited to try Albion, but I'm not a fan of their Founders Pack systems. Selling closed beta access seems kind of sketchy to me, but then again, no one's being forced to buy it, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. I'm excited about Albion because it looks to be inspired by games like Ultima Online and classic RuneScape, and that sounds like a lot of fun. Expect a video on this fairly soon. Up next, Cabal Online launches its latest update titled Art of War. And yes, I'm talking about Cabal Online here, not Cabal 2. SNL was not forgetting about the original Cabal and is still releasing content for the game. This latest update introduces a new time challenge mode, a new battlefield, a new PvP arena, and 4 new dungeons. Select dungeons can now also be played on the Elite difficulty, which is the game's highest difficulty setting. This video you see in the background is the official Art of War teaser trailer for the game, and the update should be launching fairly soon. It is interesting to see that they have not given up on Cabal Online, while Cabal 2 is still being promoted and is kind of their newest game too, but they have not given up on the original game. And moving right along, we have some mobile game news from Nexon again. This time around, it's about a game that's actually released. Mabinogi Duel launched worldwide on iOS and Android this week in 153 countries. Previously, the game has been available, but only in a select few countries for testing purposes. You can see some gameplay in the video in the background, and you can clearly see that it's a collectible card game. And Nexon boasts that the game already has 1,000 playable cards, with more most likely on the way with each major update. Hearthstone has already proven that mobile card games can bring in the big bucks, but we'll see how Mabinogi Duels fares. But I expect the first look for the game fairly soon. The next and last bit of news this week is from AdventureQuest 3D. That's right, AdventureQuest is going 3D, and Ardix Entertainment is partially funding the development of the game through a Kickstarter. The game aims to bring in $200,000, and the game's Kickstarter campaign will run until January 1st. Given the success of both AdventureQuest and AdventureQuest Worlds, I have no doubt that there are enough AdventureQuest fans out there to fund this Kickstarter campaign. The game is set to launch on both PC and mobile, and will even feature Oculus support. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. For those that don't know, AdventureQuest was one of the earlier browser-based RPGs out there and was super popular back in the day. And then they later launched AdventureQuest World, which was basically an MMORPG version of AdventureQuest, which was more so single player. I do wish the game success, but I do find it a bit odd that now a lot of companies are using Kickstarter to fund their games, even if they're not like indie studios. I mean, Ardix Entertainment, the company behind AdventureQuest, isn't exactly a small indie studio. I mean, they've been around for a long time. They've made a lot of money too, so it's interesting to see how Kickstarter is becoming like a platform for even bigger companies to just make some money off their games too. But that's a discussion for the podcast, which will be tomorrow. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys then. Later, guys.